In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 college basketball games happening on March 3rd, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 college basketball games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Wake Forest versus Duke. The Wake Forest Demon Deacons, holding a record of 20-9 overall and 12-6 in the Atlantic Coast Conference, are set to face off against the number 2 ranked Duke Blue Devils, who stand at 25-3 overall and 16-1 in the Atlantic Coast Conference. This conference showdown is scheduled for Big Monday, promising an intense battle. The two teams previously clashed in January, with Duke securing a 7-point victory on the road. Wake Forest is coming off a narrow 74-71 win against Notre Dame, though they failed to cover the 9.5-point spread. Meanwhile, Duke dominated Florida State in their last outing, cruising to a 100-65 victory and easily covering the 21.5-point spread. This game carries significant weight for both teams, albeit for different reasons. Duke, with a stellar 17-1 Atlantic Coast Conference record, is aiming to clinch the Atlantic Coast Conference title. On the other hand, Wake Forest, sitting at 20-9 overall, is looking to bolster their resume to secure a spot in the upcoming NCAA tournament. Duke has been a force to reckon with against the spread recently, making them a strong pick in this matchup. Despite concerns about Tyrese Proctor's knee and Cooper Flagg's eye, the Blue Devils have shown no signs of slowing down. They've won and covered the spread in their last 5 games, including impressive performances against Miami and Florida State, where they covered spreads of 24.5 and 21.5 points, respectively. Their depth has been on full display, with players like Isaiah Evans stepping up in key moments. Wake Forest, while solid, has struggled to cover the spread, doing so only once in their last 5 games. Their top scorer, Hunter Sallies, has seen a significant drop in his 3-point shooting, hitting just 28.5% from beyond the arc. Wake will need to find their shooting touch to stay competitive in this one. In their first meeting, Wake Forest kept it close but ultimately fell 63-56. However, this time the game shifts to Duke's home court, Cameron Indoor Stadium, which could make a significant difference. The key issue for Wake Forest is their lack of offensive firepower. Duke's offense is nearly guaranteed to produce, but the question is whether Wake can keep up. The Demon Deacons rank just 137th in adjusted offensive efficiency, scoring 109 points per 100 possessions, and are a dismal 361st in 3-point shooting at 28.6%. Compounding their challenges, they'll be facing a Duke defense that ranks among the top 5 in the nation. Duke has been dismantling weaker teams lately, and while Wake Forest isn't on the same level as some of those opponents, they're still not in Duke's tier. Wake has Hunter Sallies, but they lack the depth of scoring options that Duke possesses. If it's not Cooper Flagg leading the way, others like Isaiah Evans or Jeremy Roach step up. Duke averages 83 points per game, and they're likely to exceed that in this matchup. Wake might hang around for the first half, but Duke's depth and talent should allow them to pull away in the second half. The Blue Devils are 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 games, and I expect that streak to extend to 6-0 here. Duke has been on a roll, and there's no reason to believe they'll slow down now. As our first pick for this matchup, the Duke Blue Devils to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The trends in this game are impossible to ignore. Even if this bet doesn't go your way, you can take solace in the fact that the recent data overwhelmingly supported it. Duke has won, covered, and hit the over in each of their last 5 games. Wake Forest has also gone over the total in their last 3 games, indicating that both teams' offenses are heating up as the season winds down. Duke is getting contributions from across their roster, and Cooper Flagg remains a consistent force. Wake's Cameron. Kansas versus Houston. The final week of the Big 12 regular season gets underway on Monday night. The Kansas Jayhawks are coming off a tough 78-73 loss to number 10 Texas Tech on Saturday. They were favored by 3 points at home but couldn't get the job done. Meanwhile, the 4th-ranked Houston Cougars handled their business against Cincinnati, winning 73-64 as 13-point favorites on their home court. Both teams are looking to finish strong as the postseason looms. These two teams last faced off at the end of January January in a game that went into overtime. Houston came out on top, winning by 6 points as 1-point road favorites. Kansas has been struggling to find consistency this season, and it's been tough to rely on them. Once ranked in the top 10, they've fallen off due to uneven performances. Their offense tends to rely heavily on just 2 or 3 players each game, making them predictable and easier to defend. On the other hand, Houston is a well-rounded team with few weaknesses. They're built to exploit Kansas' flaws, especially when playing at home. In their last meeting, both teams shot the ball well, and Kansas even won the rebounding battle. However, Houston's defensive pressure forced 12 turnovers, leading to 17 points. Kansas doesn't have the tools to replicate that kind of defensive intensity. Houston has been dominant at home this season, boasting a 15-1 straight-up record and a 9-7 against the spread mark. It's still a bit surprising to see Kansas in the role of such a heavy underdog, but this isn't the same Jayhawks team we've seen in previous years. They've had plenty of underwhelming performances, including their recent home loss to Texas Tech as 3-point favorites. Kansas has failed to cover the spread in 7 of their last 10 games. Houston, meanwhile, has been nearly unbeatable at home, winning 15 of 16 games. This matchup is even more significant as it's senior night for the Cougars. Houston has also been solid against the spread this season, going 16-13 against the spread, and they already beat Kansas on the road in overtime earlier this year. The point spread is sizable, but given how far Kansas has fallen from their usual standards, it's worth backing Houston in this spot. As our first pick for this matchup, the Houston Cougars to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The first meeting between these teams was a high-scoring affair with a combined 178 points, but that was largely due to an overtime period that saw 46 points scored. In regulation, the two teams combined for 132 points, which would have still gone over the 128-point total set for that game. Houston's defense is known for keeping scores low, but nearly half of their games have still gone over the total this season. It doesn't take much to get there, especially since the Cougars have scored 69 or more points in 4 straight games and 73 or more in 3 of their last 6. Kansas, despite their struggles, has put up at least 71 points in 3 straight games and 5 of their last 7. They even scored 73 points against Texas Tech, who have the 4th best defense in the Big 12. The over has hit in 2 of the last 3 meetings between these teams. Kansas plays at a fast pace, ranking just outside the top 100 in tempo. If they can bounce back from their recent poor 3-point shooting, they could make things interesting against Houston. The Jayhawks are tough to defend near the rim and rank 34th in mid-range shooting against average opponents, according to Haslametrics. If they can knock down their 3-point shots, they'll give Houston a real challenge. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. UCLA versus Northwestern. The UCLA Bruins are set to face off against the Northwestern Wildcats in a Big Ten matchup on Monday night. UCLA is coming off a tough road loss to Purdue on Friday, while Northwestern secured a home victory against Iowa in their most recent outing. This will be the first time these two teams have met since the 2023 season, adding an extra layer of intrigue to the game. UCLA has been in solid form lately, winning 9 of their last 12 games. They've particularly excelled against weaker opponents, including a road win over Indiana 2 games ago. On the other hand, Northwestern has shown flashes of potential but has struggled when facing stronger teams. Compounding their challenges, the Wildcats are dealing with significant injury issues as 2 of their top 4 scorers are out for the rest of the season, which could impact their performance. Statistically, UCLA holds a slight edge on offense, averaging 1.6 more points per 100 possessions than Northwestern. Defensively, the Bruins are the stronger team by a noticeable margin. They allow just 95 points per 100 possessions, compared to Northwestern's 98.4. Additionally, 5 of Northwestern's last 6 losses have been by 5 or more points, highlighting their difficulty in keeping games close against competitive opponents. Both teams pride themselves on their defensive prowess, which will likely shape the flow of Monday's game. However, UCLA's defense is more dominant, and this advantage should give them the upper hand against a Northwestern squad hampered by injuries. The numbers back this up. UCLA scores more points per game and allows fewer while playing at the same tempo as Northwestern. This balance makes them a tough opponent for the Wildcats. A useful comparison for this matchup is Michigan State, the top defensive team in the Big Ten. Northwestern recently lost to the Spartans at home, 78-68, as 2-point underdogs, a situation similar to this game. In contrast, UCLA managed to edge out Michigan State with a 63-61 victory earlier this season. This further underscores UCLA's ability to perform well against strong defensive defensive teams. While Northwestern comes into this game with some momentum, having won 3 straight, UCLA's overall strength and defensive edge make them the better pick here, even on the road. As our first pick for this matchup, the UCLA Bruins to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. UCLA has been a reliable offensive team on the road, averaging 73 points in their last 5 away games. They've had some standout performances, including scoring 82 points against USC and 78 against Illinois. Meanwhile, Northwestern has found their rhythm offensively, scoring 70 or more points in 4 of their last 6 games. However, UCLA's defense has been slightly less effective on the road, giving up an average of 76 points in their last 4 away games. This trend, combined with the fact that the over has hit in 8 of Northwestern's last 10 home games, suggests that scoring could be plentiful in this matchup. Given these factors, I expect a high-scoring game. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.